Jessica Watson was raised with her 3 siblings on the Sunshine Coast in Australia. From childhood, the kids were acquainted with the ocean, whether it was in the water or on the water. Her parents used to take all 4 children out to sail, which made her fall in love with the ocean. By the time she turned 12, she got a craze for sailing, and to make her wish to own her boat come true, she worked 3 part-time jobs for 4 years and saved the money to go out to sail and discover the hidden world of the ocean. Jessica got professional training, and at the age of only 16, she proved her sailing skills in many competitions, which earned her many sponsors, to support her dream to sail around the world as the youngest solo sailor. She bought her boat and named it Pink, which she inscribed on its hull, while Pink Lady has been printed on the sail. Being the youngest sailor in history, when she went for her first trial run, she attracted huge media coverage. But her failure in the trial run resulted in discouragement of her dream. She received massive criticism from authorities, media, and some conformists for going ahead with the hazardous idea. But her sponsors reimbursed the damages of Pink, and she went for a second trial, bringing us to the present day. During the second trial run in September 2009, the 16-year-old Jessica is sailing over the Pacific Ocean near Australia. She is brushing her teeth and dancing in her Pink. She turns off the music and lights. Then she checks the radar to make sure that the route is clear and lies down on her small bed to sleep. After a while, her boat bumps into a huge cargo ship that comes out of nowhere. She falls from the bed when Pink becomes turbulent. To solve the issue, she ties herself down with a belt and puts a pillow over her ears to prevent the scratchy noise. When Pink returns to being more stable, she comes up to the deck and sees the mast has been broken. She calls Ben Bryant, a middle-aged man, her coach, and reports that the collision with the cargo ship has resulted in the dismasting of Pink, which puts an end to her trial. After a while, Ben goes to her family home and tells them that Jessica's boat has been hit by a cargo ship and she will come home the next day. Julie Watson, her mother, calls her to make sure that she is all right. Jessica assures her that the crash was not that bad. Roger Watson, her father, wants to report the cargo ship, but Ben stops him, warning him that there would be many reporters on the shore who want to see her fail. The next day, the reporters, along with Jessica's family, gather on the coast. When she reaches the shore, she goes for a press conference, along with her parents and coordinator Ben. Atherton asks her if she would ever be able to face the mountain of challenges during the sail in the middle of the sea, as she wasn't successful even in her attempt to sail between the 2 ports. She replies that she is qualified for it and that she will go for the sail in the middle of October. Another reporter questions Ben's coordination, as Matt Turner departed during the Millennium Cup under his captaincy. A shadow passes over his face, leaving him melancholic, and he ends the press conference without answering the question. The next day, while Ben and Roger are checking the boat to detect the faults, Jessica finds them. Ben shows his worry that if she continues with her lack of coordination she could end up lost in the middle of the sea one day. Ben adds that the sponsors might not help them in fixing the boat in time. Roger agrees with him, reckoning that Jess should leave the idea of sailing. Jess refutes their idea of giving up, instead of finding a solution. Julie arrives to defuse the situation and asks them to wait for the sponsors' response. Jess agrees with her. The next day all the news channels portray her sailing to be madness, rather than inspiration, and they hope that the government passes a bill to stop her. On social media, the family is called Bogan Pirates. Later that day, Jessica tries to contact the sponsors, but none of them respond. She gets worried about finishing the repairs of Pink before the proposed sailing day. The next day, Ben takes her to the boat warehouse, where she is happy to see a group of boat makers repairing Pink. Her family arrives too, and they all decorate Pink and take it to the coast in time. When they get back home, a news channel shows Roger talking to a reporter about not having confidence in her next expedition. Jessica becomes sad to see it. Roger explains that he is just worried about his little girl. Later at night, Emily motivates her to do what makes her happy. She shows her a sailing blog she created featuring her travels, which she promises to manage for her. On the sailing day, Atherton gets to the coast, along with his team, and reports that Jessica will go on solo sailing, despite all the hurdles. After a while, the Watson family, along with Ben, take the essentials into the boat. Hannah gives her cuddly toy, Kobe Koala, so Jessica would not feel alone. She feels somber upon parting with her family, but gets on the boat after bidding farewell to them all with a nervous smile. Ben unties the boat and pushes it into the water. Jess waves her hand and starts sailing away, with a smile on her face, and a new spirit. After a while, she pulls the rope to open the sail, on which "Pink Lady" is printed. After crossing the official line, the officers note the points. On day 1 in Sydney Harbor, October 18, 2009, she sails ahead, tossing the boat on dancing waves. On day 3, Ben comes to Watson's house after their request that he work at their place. Ben sets up all his gadgets, while Roger and Julie hang the sea map on the wall and pin the current location of Jess. The phone rings and Roger picks it up. Jess, on the other side, tells him her location. She is now in the Pacific Ocean, and 396 miles away from home. Her mother takes the phone and asks about her feelings. Jess, while looking at the setting sun, says that the experience is worth the wait of 4 years. When she was 12, Ben told her to create a chance to sail, when she expressed her wish to sail alone. She chose to struggle so she could earn the chance. Next, Jessica makes a vlog and shows the boat, which is going to be her home for the next 7 months. She shows the map and says that to count it as a true circumnavigation, she has to cross all the lines of longitude and round all 4 capes. After showing the map, she wears her life jacket, takes the camera, and gets on deck. After a while, she goes inside and calls Ben. She asks him how he dealt with loneliness, back in his sailing days. Ben suggests she sings whenever she feels lonely, as this is what the sailors do. Then she drops the call. On day 12, she is sailing on the Pacific Ocean, near Fiji. She tightens the sail and stands by the railing, where she sees the big whales flipping around playfully. She smiles and waves at them. Back at home, the news channel reports that Jessica is drawing the attention of the world, as the youngest solo sailor. Craig Atherton appears on screen and says that Jessica might find trouble in the Indian and Southern Oceans, as even more experienced sailors face knockdowns there. Julie says that they should not listen to him. On day 33, Jessica crosses the equator. She is now 4,356 miles away from home. She celebrates after achieving her milestone by pouring a bucket of seawater on her head. One morning, she looks out of the window and gets worried to see the red sky, as the red sky at night is a sailor's delight, but in the morning it is a warning. She contacts Ben, who has seen the forecast already. He asks her to launch the drogue before the storm, as it will keep the balance. When the storm hits the ocean, she wears her raincoat and life jacket, which has been hooked safely to the ship, and starts walking toward the sail. After she closes the sail and heads back, the waves hit her, and she tumbles toward the edge. Then she leans toward the drogue box and launches it. As she gets back inside and closes the entrance, the boat starts tossing about on the waves. She tries to get to bed to wear the belt but tumbles around, then a pan hits her head and renders her unconscious. In the morning, Ben, Roger, and Julie are waiting for her call around the table, while the kids are asleep on the sofa. The phone rings, and they put the phone on speaker. Jessica tells them that she was knocked out, but she is fine. Then she asks them to give the phone to Ben. Ben takes the phone outside to speak to her privately. She tells him that Pink is alright, but she was behind the clock in launching the drogue. Ben scolds her for not making it on time, as nature does not wait for anyone. She assures him of being more careful in the future. On day 50, she reaches the coast of South America. She is sitting on deck wearing a life jacket. She is looking at the whales jumping in and out of the water while mending the sail. Meanwhile, when Ben gets outside, Atherton runs to him, flanked by a horde of paparazzi, asking about any injuries to Jessica after the storm. Hannah comes outside holding a board on which Jessica's blog address has been written. She shoos them away and tells them that they can get the rest of the information on the blog. Atherton runs back to his van, grabs the laptop, and opens the blog. Jessica's blog opens, where she is pictured showing an albatross, the bird that is mentioned by all sailors throughout history. Then she sets the camera to show that she has caught a fish. On day 72, she is 9,504 miles away from home. While sailing over the Pacific Ocean, she receives a call from Emily, who got her admission letter to Sydney University. Jess congratulates her. After hearing her voice, Hannah runs over and tells her excitedly that she has won 4 medals in the swimming carnival. Jess wishes to celebrate with her. Emily adds that Tom has a date. Tom shouts defensively that he has no date. She is looking at them with a somber smile. They all giggle and laugh. On the other end of the call, Jessica misses them and feels even more lonely. After a while, she sits on the table playing cards, and places Kobe Koala on the other side, as her opponent. She engages in the activity to overcome her loneliness. On day 82, she crosses Cape Horn, known as the Everest of the ocean. She is now 10,824 miles away from home. Ben, Julie, Tom, and Hannah are watching her on the blog, sailing so fast through the big waves and gusts of wind. On day 113, she moves over the South Atlantic Ocean, and she is now 12,884 miles away from home. This is day 1 without wind. There are no waves and no sound. She is just lying on the deck, staring into the blue sky. When Ben calls her, she drops the call, after saying that he already knows her location. On day 115, day 3 of no wind, she is lying on the deck with her arms under her head. Ben, on the other hand, has been sitting in front of the screen for 3 days, waiting for Jessica's logs. On day 117, day 5 of no wind, Julie calls her, but she does not pick up. After a while, she gets up and opens the blog. After seeing Ben's messages, she calls him. Ben on the other side inquires about keeping a check on the abandoned ship alarm, which alerts the sailors to change the position of the ship, and warns them to leave the ship after launching a safe boat if it is about to sink, and she says that she did not check the alarm in a while. Ben shouts at her for neglecting her responsibility, as it might put her life at stake. She asks him to chill out. He gets annoyed, and sarcastically agrees that he must chill out. Then, he takes his stuff and leaves the house. Jess drops the call too. After a while, she posts a video on her blog, crying that she is all alone in the vast sea, without anyone to turn to for her support. On day 119, it's now day 7 of no wind. She is sitting at the entrance of the boat's interim. She receives her mother's call. Jess breaks into tears after hearing her voice. She cries that she is all alone. Julie asks her to look for the brightest star, and she will feel her there. She feels much better after venting out all her pent-up emotions. After dropping the call, she sings a song to herself as Ben once advised her to, then heads inside and cleans up the mess of the past 7 days. She then makes a blog post, in which she expresses her weakness at that point of the journey. She is happy to live her dream, but it is hard, as she misses her family and her silly friend Ben. Ben, on the other side of the screen, is watching her on the blog smiling. She adds that she thinks about giving up at times, but she keeps on moving, and every day is strengthening her. After some days, she wakes up with the alarm ringing. She gets out on deck wearing warm clothes. It is nighttime, and the sky is full of stars. She sees Pink finally catching the wind. The next day, she sails faster and is even happier. She cooks food and bakes cupcakes. She crosses the Atlantic Ocean while singing and dancing. After crossing the Indian Ocean, she is heading back home, rounding her final cape. All the while, her family and Ben are watching her blogs and cheering her on her long journey. Jessica crosses Cape Lewin, and a plane captures her picture while flying over her, which goes viral on social media. On day 186, she is in the Southern Ocean, and only 3,040 miles away from reaching home. She ties bandages on the cuts that she got while pulling the ropes of the sail. After a while, she finds out that her boat is leaking. She calls Ben, but Roger picks up the call, saying that Ben has shifted back to his boat and he is tracking her from there. She drops the call and fixes the boat on her own. On day 197, she is now 1,588 miles away from reaching home. She is talking on the phone with Emily. She sees the weather forecast, which shows many storms coming toward that side of the ocean in the next 72 hours. She goes outside and screams angrily at the sky after seeing the black clouds. She heads back inside, disappointed. Emily is still on the phone, and she asks Jess to relax and open the comments on her blogs. When she opens it, she is cheered up by seeing people's love for her. Meanwhile, Ben heads back to the Watsons' house to help Jess on her final stretch back home. She opens up the map and tries to figure out a way past the storm, as she cannot give up now, being so near. After a while, she finds a way. She tells her family the plan, to sail right through the storm, as the only way to survive is to work with nature, not against it. She sets the sail up and ties herself to the bed. Pink is tossing in waves through the storms. The storms merge and become one big storm. Jessica is vomiting from the impact of the rough, pounding waves, and everything in the boat is falling all around her. She tries to sing to distract herself but fails. Then she calls home and asks them to distract her. Ben makes a deal with her that he will go sailing again when she gets back home. Suddenly, a warning shows on the tracking screen. Ben is shocked to see it. Jessica, on the other side, sees a monstrous wave about to crash onto Pink. She screams, but the wave rolls over Pink. She looks at the picture of her family that is glued to the ceiling and takes a deep breath. The phone rings at home and informs them that the emergency alarm of Pink is off, as it might be 15 feet underwater. Tom tries to call her, but there is no response. He cries out in mourning, hugging his father. Emily, with tears in her eyes, hugs a terrified Hannah. Julie runs to the other room crying. Tom grieves at losing his only friend. Concurrently, Pink is at the mercy of the water. Suddenly it starts moving, then it turns over and manages to rise above the waves once more. In the morning, while they all are in deep shock, the phone rings, and they hear Jessica's voice on the other side, exhausted and relieved, telling them that she has made it through the storm. Hannah and Emily head outside to where the reporters are gathered, in a somber mood as they, like the rest of the world, believe that Jess has drowned. Hannah informs them triumphantly that Jess is heading back successfully. Atherton, her biggest critic, starts screaming with happiness, along with other media. On day 210, she is welcomed at Sydney Harbor by millions of people. When she crosses the official line on the 15th of May 2010, Ben sets sail, as per their deal. She waves at him to wish him good luck. Atherton calls her an inspiration to many people with dreams. She is introduced as a hero by the Prime Minister during her welcome ceremony. She disagrees with him, as she is just an ordinary girl who had a dream to achieve. She adds that anyone can achieve their dreams if they have the true spirit in them.